In 1958, one man decided that a tiny, 1-ounce bird was the single greatest threat to a global superpower. He mobilized 600 million people to kill every single sparrow in China. At first, it sounded like a massive victory for human progress until 30 million people started dying. But let's be real for a second. 30 million isn't just a dry statistic in a dusty history textbook. It's 30 million human beings who were reduced to eating tree bark, their own leather shoes, and eventually each other. All because someone decided they were smarter than millions of years of evolution. Welcome to the Pests campaign, the only war in history where humanity won every single battle, but lost the entire planet. Think of the sparrow as a tiny chirping gear in a massive ancient machine. It's small, it's noisy, and to an arrogant leader, it seems completely unimportant. But Mao Zedong decided to rip that specific gear out of the engine. He didn't realize that the moment that tiny gear stopped turning, the entire mechanical giant of China would shatter into pieces, burying whole provinces under the wreckage. Imagine declaring a total war against birds and accidentally causing the deadliest famine in human history. That isn't just a political mistake. That is next-level historical stupidity. Mao had a grand, utopian dream to turn China into an industrial giant overnight. But in his mind, there was a small, chirping problem standing in his way. According to Mao's brilliant yet deeply flawed math, one sparrow eats 4 pounds of grain per year. His logic was dangerously simple. No birds equals more rice, which means communism wins. He literally treated the humble sparrow like a foreign spy working for the capitalist enemy. So the Great Sparrow Campaign was officially born. The order from the top was absolute. Wipe them out, all of them. Along with rats, flies, and mosquitoes, the sparrow became public enemy number one. This wasn't just a simple cull, it was 24/7 psychological warfare on a national scale. Millions of people took to the streets with pots, pans, and drums. The strategy was pure madness. Every time a sparrow tried to land to rest, the terrified crowds made so much noise that the birds were forced to keep flying until they died of pure exhaustion and fell dead from the sky. Imagine being a tiny bird and the entire human race is literally screaming at you until your heart explodes. That isn't a call, that is a psychological horror movie. Children were given slingshots and told to shoot every bird on sight. Schools and factories competed for the highest body count, parading piles of dead birds through the streets on the hoods of trucks like they were trophies from a battlefield. People were rewarded with medals for the number of dead tails they brought in. In just a few months, the sparrow was almost extinct in China. The people celebrated, thinking they had finally conquered nature itself through sheer willpower. They were dead wrong. Here is the one thing Mao's party scientists forgot to mention, or were too afraid to say. Sparrows don't just eat grain, they eat insects. Specifically, they eat locusts. With no sparrows left to keep them in check, the locust population exploded like a biological nuclear bomb. Nature doesn't care about your political ideology, your red flags, or your 5-year plans. If you break a single link in the food chain, the entire system eventually collapses right onto your head. By 1960, the nightmare became a reality. Billions of locusts swarmed the countryside, forming black clouds that blocked out the sun. They ate everything in sight. Fields of grain disappeared in hours, leaving nothing but bare earth. This led to the Great Chinese Famine, where tens of millions of people died of starvation. People were reduced to eating grass and mud while clutching the medals they won for killing the very birds that could have saved them. The ultimate irony? To stop the famine, China had to secretly reach out to the Soviet Union and import 250,000 sparrows in special train cars. They literally had to beg their neighbors for the enemy to return and save them from their own genius. The Soviet sparrows were released into the wild to do what nature had intended all along: eat the bugs that were eating the people. I still can't wrap my tentacles around this level of human stupidity. If there's one lesson you should take away from Kraken history, it's this: never declare war on an animal unless you're ready for the entire earth to fight back. Nature is a patient creditor, and when it comes to collect, the price is always higher than you can afford. I'm Kraken, and this was the saltiest lesson in ecological warfare. Subscribe, or the sparrows might come for your lunch next. Stay salty.